Hello and welcome to the MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, as Barca's American tour continues. Today, of course, they bring El Clásico stateside. They take on Real Madrid here as the pre-season preparations continue. Barca, of course, coming into this game off the back of their win on penalties against Manchester City in their opening pre-season friendly. And now take on their arch rivals in a different venue today. There are a few more members of the first team back in the equation for the Blaugrana. And we shall see how they get on as the Hansi Flick era continues to take shape. This a traditional fixture by now over the summer. Not the highest of stakes, but it is a good opportunity to see these players in action. We've seen some pretty neat goals in recent seasons between these sides. It's maybe, for some of these fans, the only chance they will have to experience El Clásico. It's a different kind of venue, a different kind of scenario, but it does feature some of the traditional superstars. There we see a couple of the players who are back. Marc-Andre ter Stegen and Íñigo Martínez part of the equation today. Andreas Christensen as well is in the first team after returning from his summer break. Majority of the Barca first team players who featured in the European Championships not quite ready to return yet, but they will be on hand shortly. And we'll have a look first of all at the starting lineups, beginning with Real Madrid. Thibaut Courtois in goal, Garcia and Vázquez either side of Militao and Rudiger in a first choice defence, Ceballos, Martín and Luka Modric in a three-man midfield. The new signing Endrick is joined by Diaz and Arda Güler in what is a 4-3-3 formation chosen by Carlo Ancelotti. We'll move on to the Barca lineup shortly, and we did see a wholesale change at half-time in the game against Manchester City. Very few players completed the full 90 minutes in that contest. We do have today Marc-Andre ter Stegen back in goal, his first pre-season appearance, and the German takes on the captain's armband today in New Jersey. So the starting 11 chosen by Hansi Flick for this game. Marc-Andre ter Stegen in goal, Balde, Martinez, Christensen and Valle at the back. All change in that back four today. Hernandez, Casado, Bernal and Víctor in midfield. Pablo Torre playing just behind Robert Lewandowski, one of those players who did feature in Euro 2024 but has come back early to take part in the pre-season tour. Well, a strong lineup today, Spence. It's Hansi Flick getting the measure of his players. A few impressed in the game against Manchester City.
Yeah, Pablo Torre and Pau Víctor specifically were excellent against Manchester City. Now I'm wondering, first you've got Lewandowski in there from the get-go, and we've also got a new name that maybe not as many people are familiar with. Unai Hernandez is a talent. He's been really impressive for both Juvenil and Barça Athletic over the last couple of years. This is his chance to shine on the big stage. We've seen players shine in this game specifically, this preseason Clásico over the last couple of years. A couple of sweet left-footed goals. Rafinha 2 years ago. Don't forget Fermín last year. So nobody knew who Fermín was this time last year. It could be very similar with some of these Barça players coming from La Masia to get ready for the 24-25 season.
Well, it's a unique summer in terms of preparation with the European Championships, with the Olympics as well. The players will gradually return to the fold for Barca, but it's a fairly strong lineup today, chosen by Hansi Flick, the new incumbent in the Barca dugout. We'll get El Clásico underway shortly with the threat of rain, much like the game against Manchester City, which was delayed some 75 minutes due to thunderstorms. There is some cloud lurking around here that could prove problematic. We'll keep tabs on that as things immediately get underway. A fairly bobbly surface here at the MetLife Stadium. was Torre just with the conservative ball back. You see Barca with a tidy performance against Manchester City. It did mark the return to action of Alejandro Balde. He starts today on the left-hand side with Alex Valle in for Hector Fort on the right-hand side. For the time being, Hector Fort may come on in the second half.
Now, there are a lot of question marks around which young players will get an opportunity, and you can predict and guess as much as you want, but not even Hansi Flick knows at this point. So it's going to take some time to actually see the talent level that he's got out there with some of the non-traditional, non-everyday starters. Pablo Torre has started off really well. That's a nice forward-seeking ball.
We might see a cross in here from Balde. Balde instead slips it down that left channel. There was no room for the cutback for Unai Hernandez, who was making his first run into the opposition penalty area. And we see almost a first choice full-back and centre-back combination for Real Madrid. Lucas Vázquez occasionally coming in the 75th minute or so, but he's looking to win his place. Fran Garcia, who returned to Real Madrid last season, gets the nod at left-back. But those two centre-backs, Antonio Rudiger, almost an ever-present last season for Carlo Ancelotti, and Eder Militao, who is an influential player but suffered that long-term injury that kept him sidelined for almost the entire campaign. Spread out to the right-hand side by Marc Casado. Second pre-season for him with the first team. And Casado is one of those players who's looking to take a step up and become part of the first team fold. Here comes Balde again, trying to flick to the outside for Unai Hernandez. In terms of regular starters, more of them in the Real Madrid lineup for the time being. Squad depth for Los Blancos. And they come forward here. There is Hendrik. It's a rather heavy second touch from him.
And from the Real Madrid perspective, you've got a lot of the regulars, as you mentioned, Duncan, out there today, but he's really the shiny new diamond that Real Madrid fans want to see. It's going to take time. I don't think everybody is as lucky to have a young player like Lamine Yamal, who showed up and just immediately made it work, especially when everybody's healthy for Los Blancos. They've got a ton of options to choose from up front, so he's not going to be that guy.
And the ball is broken away by Real Madrid. Barca apply the squeeze, and it's the first foul of the game. A tactical one there from Marc Bernal, who was booked in the game against Manchester City. Comes across to stop the progress of Brahim Diaz. That's held up on the right-hand side. Could see a cross in here from Lucas Vázquez. Cuts that back slightly too heavy. It's come to one of the players in a white shirt, Fran Garcia. Now space on the right for Lucas Vázquez. Plays one low. It's lifted up, and Barca will, it looks like, get this clear attacking foul inside the penalty area, and it's a player penalised, Mario Martin, one of the youth players who's been brought up for this US tour for Real Madrid.
Maybe it's us putting more focus on Barca because that's what we're designed to do here. Maybe it's just a straight fact. Maybe it's a little bit of both. But you know, we always talk about La Masia players. We don't usually talk about as many academy products coming up from Madrid just because they don't tend to use them very often.
Well, La Liga is littered with players who come up through La Fábrica, but who've headed off to pastures new, having not been able to break their way into the first team.
Yeah, we do see that a lot, don't we? Especially, you don't get the chance at first, and they kind of say, you know what, go prove yourself somewhere else, and if you're good enough, come back for us. And we like to think that the La Masia way is a little bit more rewarding of the hard work that you put in as a youth.
Well, the buyback option is an important thing for some of these bigger clubs with more productive academies. Several of the top sides in Spain are amongst the front runners in the CIS Football Observatory rankings for providing players for the top 5 European leagues. Not always in their own first team. Bit of space here for Lewandowski. Opted against the shot, it was a bit too far out for him, he deemed. And Barca get a first corner, trying for the cross in. He managed to get something from that move. It was Marc Bernal. And Bernal stays forward. He's come to the edge of the 6-yard box. So he is one of 2 players who is on the edge of the 6-yard box and might just try and block the path of Thibaut Courtois. Pablo Torre is going to take this. Lewandowski goes near post, and it's a little flick on. That was a decent header, and Courtois had to be alert there. Pau Víctor once again causing some problems inside the penalty area. Pau Víctor, very tidy performances indeed for him last season with Barça Athletic. Some 20 goals. He opened his unofficial account against Manchester City. Very nearly got one in El Clásico.
That is really well redirected, and he just seems to have that magic touch. And I know it's preseason. I know it's only been about 97 minutes that we've watched this team in action, but boy, every time he touches the ball, it's with purpose, and that's what you want, especially from your striker or your attacking players up top. He just seems to know what to do when given the right opportunity, and he's taking advantage of it right now.
Well, the link-up play has also been so good from Pau Víctor. It's provided a great combination, especially with Pablo Torre, as they know each other well. Bringing that into the equation for the first team. Lucas Vázquez is calling for the ball for Real Madrid. He's back once again into the defence. Arda Güler has dropped very far back. You talk about young sensations. Arda Güler had fans calling for him to be used more frequently. He did get that opportunity at the end of last season. He was sensational for Real Madrid and carried that over into the European Championships as well for Turkey.
And see, that's what Marc Casado does really well, and I think that's why he's best to be used in the midfield as a holding player, because he's really good at finding the space to just make the next play. It doesn't have to be the flashy play. He finds the way to just hold on to the ball for that extra split second. You see him do it out there on the wing that time. You're going back to Arda Güler. If we're talking about players who have that magic touch, I think we have to be fair and say that he is one of the bright young talents of La Liga. I forget what the exact stat was. It was something like he took 6 shots or 7 shots, and 6 of those went in his first efforts in La Liga. So he also does things with a purpose.
This ball taken down the right-hand side. Little double back there from Alex Valle. Alex Valle is a Swiss Army knife of the play. You can use him on the left. You can use him on the right as well in the full-back position. That's great poise to his play. Still not seen a ball slip through the middle. Barca Lewandowski's had it at times in that central position with the ball at his feet. Trying to spread it out to the channels. Here comes a run through the middle. It's met with a rather robust challenge from Endrick. And the chance for Real Madrid to break. It's on the left-hand side. Barca get players back to cope with Brahim Diaz. That's floated across the face of goal. Remember, it's a first pre-season game for Marc-Andre ter Stegen. He's yet to touch the ball in the opening 10 minutes. Played into the area by Luka Modric. Gets it back at his feet. Of course, a new era for Real Madrid without Toni Kroos. Luka Modric as well being used sparingly the last couple of seasons by Carlo Ancelotti.
I have to say, I'm glad for the sake of public perception and enjoyment that Luka Modric is in this game, but it's surprising to see him playing so soon after what was a pretty long and difficult summer for him and for Croatia.
Well, there has been some rainfall, and it looks like a lightning bolt and maybe some thunder has been heard far away. Carlo Ancelotti inquires as to what's going on, but it may be that the thunderstorm protocol is applied, and that would mean withdrawing the players from the pitch.
Yeah, the rules are a little bit different here in the US rather than what we're used to seeing in Spain or in Europe in general. Any lightning, and that means we're going to have a delay. And you can see that most of these players are not familiar with that type of ruling.
Well, some of these players have played, for example, in the Basque Country, where it tends to rain heavily. They played on some pretty sodden pitches at times in La Liga. It's a very different circumstance, though. Barca's pre-season so far has been plagued by bad weather. 75, 80-minute delay to get the game against Manchester City started, and now a hopefully distant thunderstorm has led to the players being withdrawn from the field of play. Well, it's more typical to see this in the venue where Barca were last playing, around Orlando, where it's far more frequent, but in New Jersey there's going to be a delay, and the protocol suggests it has to be a minimum of half an hour from every clap of thunder. So this game comes to a pause just as it was getting going.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, especially for the players who have gotten themselves ready physically, mentally. It's, you know, it's a Clásico. This isn't normal protocol when we're in Europe, so it's tough to get yourself this ready for a game and all of a sudden be told that you have to come to an immediate halt. Eventually, we'll hope that these players can get back out there. I would assume as much, assuming this storm doesn't go all night, but it's a bit unfortunate. I was looking for, we were just in a nice little groove there for the first 15 minutes too.
In addition, some of these players were in action in that Monday night game towards the end of the season against Valencia, where it was torrential rain in Barcelona. They'll be wondering what the fuss is all about. But it is the established protocol. The fans will be taken to shelter as well, whilst the authorities decide what the next step is going to be. A pause in El Clásico at the MetLife Stadium. Well, the stadium announcers will keep the fans up to date with what is occurring. It's not ruled out that the game would be suspended indefinitely. For the time being, we'll be optimistic. It is going to be a minimum of a half-hour delay, as established in the protocols.
And then you ask the question, especially with how we're still in the preseason and this isn't mid-season form, which of these players will be able to reheat their bodies a little bit once we get back out on the pitch, because they've been loose, they've been jogging around for a little bit, but once you have to get back in it, it's quick to remind yourself that those muscles have to be working in the right form again. It's not always so easy, and I only speak from experience, having worked in baseball for so long, which I know is a sport that not as many people are familiar with here, but when a pitcher goes out to throw, what happens is after a long rain delay, his arm tightens up and he usually doesn't go back out. Now this is football, it's a little bit different. We just got to do a couple of quick jumps, quick stretches, and we're ready to get back out there. But for now, I guess we should do some vocal exercises as well.
Well, you start and I will follow, Spence, but it's a curious circumstance. We don't see it too often, a delay in a game in La Liga, especially with the players being withdrawn from the pitch. That is very rare. We do have some long stoppages in which the players will stay out and maybe keep warming up if there's any kind of medical emergency in the stands or anything of that ilk. But
well, that's something that we don't do back in the U.S. If there's a medical emergency in the stands, that's not a common practice to stop the game. But this is, so different cultures, different rules. We have to be respectful of them all.
Well, different weather as well, and it means a delay in El Clásico. We will be back when the players are back here at the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Warming up. So the players are back out warming up here at the MetLife Stadium after considerable delay. It looks as if we're going to get El Clásico back going. As we said before, we're just finding the groove after 12 minutes or so, and then a clap of thunder in the distance, leading to the referee sending the players back down the tunnel. A considerable delay. The fans are pretty eager to see the action get back underway again. It has been raining heavily. We'll see what kind of effect that has on the pitch, which was fairly bobbly to start with in areas. A few puddles around here now. Some of the topsoil has been lifted up. But the good news, it seems as if we will have, at least for the time being, a bit more action in El Clásico.
We would hope so, and we also would say that we feel for some of the fans that are going to be out there a little bit longer than they had anticipated, because with the delay that we just had, now getting back to action, it's almost as if they've got a double header on their hands, because this is essentially the length of 2 football games. So let's hope that we don't have any more problems up in the sky. I don't anticipate that to be the case. But yeah, these players are getting warmed up again, and we can get back to what we want, which is more football.
The initial 12 minutes or so had a few details for Barca in the attack that were of note. Did see the Blaugrana win a corner and that great header from Pau Víctor, saved by Thibaut Courtois. What has been the only opportunity of note to date. But once again, Pau Víctor impressing and stating his case for a more regular role as part of the first team setup. So all the players back out warming up. It's almost inevitable they will have cooled down. You do have at times some exercise bikes in the dressing room, but certainly not for everybody who's going to go back out.
Well, it's something new for all of these players, too, for the most part. They're not used to this sort of lightning delay. And they also wouldn't be then used to keeping themselves loose for a delay as long as this. So let's see how that affects the first 5 to 10 minutes if it's almost like another ramp-up period when they get going.
So the players still warming up, taking their time. And the referee will decide when this one gets back underway. And you see a few of the players slightly bemused as to why the game was stopped. Carlo Ancelotti as well was talking to the fourth official about this. So cheers go up around the stands because it looks like this one is going to get back underway. As we stand ahead of this one, it is the second game of the Hansi Flick era. He was fairly pleased with the showing against Manchester City. It was a chance to run the rule over some of his players who will be available. But most of the hard graft in that respect, just a few days ahead of the new season, is going to come at the Ciutat Esportiva Johan Cruyff. We're going to see almost a crash course for the players in Hansi Flick's methods, because a lot of them will barely have met him before the season gets started.
Yeah, there's so many different ways to break down the preseason. I think in the simplest terms, we know that these games should be taken with a grain of salt in terms of the results. And many times, the skill levels on the pitch that we see, it's just not quite up to mid-season form, and we can accept that. I do think there's an exception, though, to paying close attention to what you see on the pitch in these instances, and it's when a new coach comes in, a new manager has his own methods that he wants to put forth into an 11, and Hansi Flick is trying to do that right now. It's still going to take time, but we saw in the first game with City how different it looked from what Xavi had been doing for the last couple of years. So this is just another chance to test that against high-level competition, and thankfully, it looks like we're getting back to football.
Well, the countdown has concluded, and after a significant delay, a ripple of applause goes up around the stands. This one is back. Goalless between Real Madrid and Football Club Barcelona. 12 minutes played in this stateside version of El Clásico. There is Inigo Martinez. We mentioned some of the players who will be back available to Hansi Flick. First pre-season game for Martinez. Christensen as well. Rafinha is on the bench and could very well feature. He was away with Brazil for the Copa America this summer. Real Madrid trying to combine with Modric in the centre. Now back by Inigo Martinez to Marc-Andre ter Stegen. A couple of touches from ter Stegen, which we didn't see in the opening 10 minutes. And played through. It's going to be a foot race to the ball. It is one out by the defender. Antonio Rodiger just saunters after it, gets there ahead of Robert Lewandowski. We have a man down for Barca.
And, well, it does appear that Marc Bernal is all right. Got to be careful with those head-to-heads.
Collides there with Mario Martin. Gets back up, no harm, no foul. Also do have a few more opportunities to get ready for the season. 2 more pre-season friendlies. They take on AC Milan in midweek. And there's also La Gampa on the 12th of August. Monday night fixture against AS Monaco. Something we're seeing more and more high-level opposition chosen for pre-season friendlies, rather than the typical playing local sides. A couple of games against whether the local sides are in the venues they visit. They're actually not going to take on any MLS teams in their visit stateside this season, which is a novelty.
Well, I do think it's become more of a tradition now that everybody seems to be on board with. A large number of the big clubs coming stateside during the summer months to give what is a very large fan base, undeniably, a chance to see these players live without having to fly across an ocean to get there. And we also see it happen on the other side of the world, too. A lot of times these teams will go to some of the Asian countries and let those people get a chance to watch as well.
Lucas Vasquez plays one inside. It's with Modric in that central midfield role. He apologises for the deflected pass. It's an interesting incisive ball that Marc-Andre ter Stegen has it covered. Brahim Diaz was slow to reach the intended pass from Arda Güler.
I think depending on the level of spoiled that the fan is that comes to this game, a lot of them will say it's not even really that big of a deal that we don't get to see Lamine Yamal or Pedri.
This one has bypassed the defence. It's an opportunity here for Pablo Torre. Tries to go inside. There's a request from Pau Víctor to set him up a little bit earlier there off the pass.
Exactly. That's where I was going with this, because we've talked so much about how impressed we've been with Pablo Torre this preseason so far. That's a learning moment for him that he's going to need to go back and watch. That decision just has to come quicker. If he makes that decision maybe a second and a half quicker than what he did, that play develops in a different way rather than just getting the ball poked off of his feet.
And a Militao with the clip over to the left-hand side.
And one thing we have seen, especially in the City game, that this Hansi Flick method has already shown us is that quick decision-making is a key. It's pretty common in German football in general, so it's no surprise to see him working to implement that.
Over to the right-hand side. Collected in the centre. That one just bypasses everybody who was in that traffic. Brahim Diaz again waiting inside the box. Arda Güler and Endrick failing to combine. It's hurled upfield by Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Good delivery from him. The distribution in the centre perfect for the feet of his teammate. Here is Pablo Torre. Some of these players who've come to the US tour and will be back with Barça Athletic, who lost again for the second time in their pre-season yesterday in the game against Sabadell. So it was a mixed squad for that game at Weiden-Bass yesterday evening. This is a chance for some of the players who've come on the tour to show their stuff, stake their claim to a more regular spot in the matchday squad for Hansi Flick. Barça Athletic did look out of sorts yesterday and in their first friendly against La Escala. And
if you think that the top professionals, as Pablo Torre thought he was fouled, and he might have a point to prove there. If you think for the top professionals it's tough to get going into the season, just imagine some of the younger players.
He played through. Could be an opportunity here for Lewandowski to set up a teammate, tries to dink that through. Appeal for handball falls on deaf ears. And this is where Real Madrid try and break. Well covered by Alejandro Balde. Moved upfield and cut out the channel. any opportunity at a pass.
Yeah, that's the second time we've seen Lewandowski with the ball at the top of the box, thinking shot. And that's, I would call it a 50-50 judgment call at best as to whether or not it was actually a handball. It did touch his arm, no doubt about that for Militao. But both times Lewandowski was thinking shot, his angle was closed down fairly quickly, so he then had to pivot into a pass.
So Real Madrid slow things down in the middle third of the pitch. Here's Luka Modric. Opens up the play with a pass to Arda Güler. Güler goes for a shot. Stifled by the Barca back line. And once again, it's a tactical foul. This time around it is called, as Pablo Torre is brought down. Arda Güler protests the decision to the referee.
That was just a hair late from Arda Güler, who no doubt, if he continues playing the way that he finished last season, will become one of Barca fans' least favorite players in La Liga.
Well, he is undoubtedly a great talent, Arda Güler. The problem may be finding a space for him in the side. It's a fairly well-established forward line, and there's some newcomers as well. Kylian Mbappe amongst them.
Oh, right.
Competition is fierce at Real Madrid, and we may very well see a player with the talent of Arda Güler might cause some problems if he's not included frequently in the first team. And that's a good interception to take it away from Brahim Diaz.
Oh, a nice outlet. Look up.
Early ball in. This is the opportunity Barca have been looking for. Poor control on the first touch. The opportunity gets away from the Blaugrana. Here is Pau Torre. Pablo Torre shows for it again.
Unai Hernandez's eyes got really big in that moment and just couldn't bring it under his spell. Here he is again.
Little shuffle from Unai Hernandez. Plays it back to Balde. And eventually Barca have to reset with the pass into the defence. Inigo Martinez to Christensen. It's an interesting role for Andres Christensen last season. He was moved forward by the end of the campaign to play as one of the double pivots.
Well, and I don't think anybody is going to forget, despite the fact that it was an undesired result, the worldy goal that he scored at Montilivi against Girona in the first few minutes. Took that off of his chest and then just sliced it into the net like a true striker.
Nudged back as well, we will see what kind of role Christensen has. He certainly looked very comfortable bringing the ball forward last season. Barca still looking for someone to fill that role with Oriol Romeo, one of the options. Fell out of favour under Xavi by the end of last season. Robbed away. Marc Casado will be hoping to stake his claim this summer.
Oh, with Romeo gone, there's a lot of opportunity, more than anything, for a young player to step in and fill that role. Or, you know, Barca, as we've seen, can be active in the transfer market.
Ball moved around by Real Madrid halfway through the first half here at the MetLife Stadium. And it's still a little bit rainy, a little bit windy. And the pitch maybe not in the best of condition. Both of these sides going on the attack. This could be an opportunity. It's the opening goal perhaps, but the offside flag is up. Arda Güler is denied with a little shake of the finger, indicating he was not in agreement. That offside flag raised.
Quick restart too.
The play immediately continues. It looks as if a flare has been thrown onto the pitch. I'm sure we'll see a replay of that disallowed goal for Arda Güler.
I don't have enough time yet to get to a replay, but that's exactly what Arda Güler is capable of. We just talked about it earlier. He's very clinical, even though he probably got a head start on that one. No VAR, though, so no need to waste any time.
Lucas Vázquez, he's got Güler ahead of him. It does come to the young Turkish player. And that disallowed goal has sparked a little bit of energy amongst the fans in the stands.
And these Madrid attacking players as well.
Brahim Diaz turns. Right-footed shot from him. First real test for Marc-Andre ter Stegen, who gets down and makes the save there. So here's another look at Güler's movement.
Woof. I mean, credit to the officials too, because it did look like he might have been a sliver offside. But in 2024 professional football, every assistant is trained, conditioned to keep their flag down in those moments because they know that they need to let the play out for that reason, to see if it turns into a goal so that it can be looked at immediately afterwards by VAR. There's no fallback today, so credit to the official for seeing that in the first place.
We see Rudiger there. He left a little bit extra on Pau Víctor.
Boy, that wasn't very nice.
Rudiger, renowned for some of his antics against opposition players.
Tell you, if you're a Barca fan and you see that, your blood boils just a little bit more, doesn't it?
Lewandowski wanted that one earlier through the centre. Fed off some pretty slim pickings against Manchester City. Lewandowski might get on the end of a cross here. Looks for it. It falls loose inside the area. There's the follow-up shot just wide of the left post.
There's that man again. It's Pau Víctor. At every turn, he always just seems to be around the ball, and that didn't miss by much.
At the other end, swept up inside the box by Football Club Barcelona. Back to Marc-Andre ter Stegen, who's seeing a little more action at the moment. He's made his first save of the game. On the hero in goal, and last time out, Ander Astralaga, with those superb penalty saves against Manchester City to win Barca the shootout. They come after Iñaki Peña was featured between the sticks, most prominently against the Citizens. To the edge of the area, that one floated across. That's a back-heeled half clearance. And Pablo Torre.
Good idea.
And it's well read by Thibaut Courtois. Himself had an injury hit 2023-2024 when he came back late on in the campaign. It was sufficient for him to be chosen ahead of Andre Lunin for the Champions League final. As Mario Martin plays the 1-2 with Luka Modric. Güler. Played with fire there because Lewandowski had stayed upfield. Ball played right under the Polish striker's nose. Real Madrid enjoying a little bit more possession without making it count. Has just drawn the Barca midfield forward slightly. Hendrik tries to run around on Inigo Martinez.
He was halfway down before he even got touched.
Hendrik has won a free kick at Inigo Martinez's expense. As Marc-Andre ter Stegen is going to try and organise a wall here because it is within shooting distance. A free kick played short, now lifted onto the left channel. Pulls for a strike. Guller's effort is blocked by Balde. Likewise, the effort from Hendrik.
It's the second time in as many games that we've seen a necessary ball replacement.
So we get things back underway swiftly. We're half an hour in. It remains goalless between Real Madrid and Football Club Barcelona here at the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Barca's stateside tour comes to a close today. It's these unique conditions that a thunderstorm looming. This one Burgos at pace. It's well met by Inigo Martinez, who blocks the cross from Fran Garcia.
Another example of a guy, a left back in Fran Garcia, who didn't have an opportunity last year despite coming over from Rayo Vallecano. That left back position was up for grabs all season long. This is his chance to prove himself for Los Blancos.
Modric sells the dummy, but his distribution is to nobody in particular, having turned Pablo Torre. Had been speculation last season it was going to be Modric's last, and the departure of Toni Kroos just leads to him staying on at least one more year. But he has expressed his displeasure at this bit part role that Carlo Ancelotti has him in. It's Pablo Torre. Bernal. It's into the box. Lewandowski holds it up. Can't find the angle for a shot and held onto the ball for too long. It's an attacking foul on Dani Ceballos.
Yeah, that's the second time that we've seen the decision-making take a little bit longer than it normally should. But outside of those two moments, actually, I think that Barca have been very quick with moving the ball around the pitch here from one side to the other. Their spacing has been good. It does look different than what we saw with Xavi. They're just a little bit spread out further when trying to play in what I would say is close quarters.
Here's Guller. Step overs from Vasquez in the centre. A bit of space for Modric to work his magic. Whilst Hendrik waits in between the Barca defence. Inigo Martinez keeps tabs on him. Not quite touch tight on the Brazilian attacker, but it wasn't required in the end. Barca regained possession. Inigo Martinez trots forward with the ball. This is a relative rarity. Normally it's a pass to Christensen. It's the Dane who does that work. Unai Hernandez. Tries to go inside, but to no avail.
He got around one, but Andrik's not a defender. Ceballos typically knows what he's doing.
We mentioned the other fixtures that Barca have. Real Madrid will take on Chelsea and Atalanta before the end of the summer.
That Atalanta game is really the ringing in of the new year, so to speak.
And playing through, might see that ball flicked up by Lucas Vázquez. It was well followed. Sliding intervention at the back there by Football Club Barcelona. This was the pass from Güler. Might just have caught his teammate in an offside position, Lucas Vázquez. But it is going to be a corner. Whipped over, not quite met there inside the 6-yard box.
Well defended by Bernal. It's not an easy ball to clear when you're grappling with your target as well.
So back to Thibaut Courtois. Barca are keeping players in the opposition half. They're not pressing up too high at the moment. That'll be interesting to see from Hansi Flick what kind of pressing style he will go for. You can look at pre-season, you can look at what he says in press conferences, and you can look at his Bayern Munich sides, but we won't really get a feel for his tactics and instructions until the season gets underway proper.
Yeah, and obviously it goes without saying, but the amount of pressure and the style is going to vary drastically based on the opponent that they see at any given time. You know, they start the season with two very capable attacking clubs in Valencia and Athletic Club. But then you get into the Rayo Valladolid Getafe of September, and that's when we might see this team try to put their foot on the gas.
That was Balde taking out Endrick with a firm challenge. Mario Martin. Left it all the way over to the left-hand side. There are options for a cross in, but Barca have a defensive line in order. Just stepping out of it, though, was Alex Valle. He's back in position. Modric, no pass from him. First time shots after the single touch to control, and Endrick fails to find the target. Trapped it with his right foot and just tried to roll it past Marc-Andre ter Stegen with his left.
It was a decent effort by Andrik, but boy, Luka Modric, it looks like he's 28 again. He's pulling all of the strings. You've got to give your respect to that man for what he's able to do at his advanced footballing age.
Here's Balde. See a bit of a press going on from Real Madrid. We will shortly move into the final 5 minutes of the first half. Balde with the throw, finds Lewandowski of all people, who's dropped very deep. He's fouled in the process. Inigo Martinez. There's another foul, this time by Mario Martin on Pablo Torre. Would it be unfair to say that Pablo Torre has been targeted by these Real Madrid players? He has received a lot of fouls in this first half. Balde waits on the left. Option of the pass to him is ignored. Lewandowski, he tends to do this when he doesn't get much service. He'll drop further back. He is by no means as effective.
That was 3 fouls in a row on Martin, which, if it wasn't a preseason friendly, the referee would probably come over and at least have a word with him, but I don't think he said much.
Inigo Martinez to Balde on the left. Balde looks for a cross in. It's side-footed away by Rudiger. And we'll see our final 5 minutes of the first half. Both teams looking to break the deadlock. We've had a couple of opportunities for both teams. Both goalkeepers have been called into action so far. Best opportunity probably the effort by Pau Víctor, saved by Thibaut Courtois. A powerful, well-placed header that the Belgian goalkeeper was able to reach. The right-hand side, left-footed delivery in, brought down by Lewandowski, nodded across into the net. And we have the opening goal of El Clásico. Who else but Pau Víctor to score? Given more than a helping hand by Robert Lewandowski, who set that up on a plate for the youngster. Great delivery in. Lewandowski brings it down, if not quite under control. And Pau Víctor does the rest.
Who else but Pau Víctor? You said it, Duncan. This kid is on a heater right now. He didn't have to do much this time. A lot of his other efforts on target have been from a much more difficult angle. This is all Valle, Lewandowski, and then Pau Víctor just has to do the easiest part, which is a little head tap into an open net. Showing you why there's a chance that this kid has an opportunity this season to play, especially alongside Lewandowski. It's really well worked. And again, just in the right place at the right time. That's all you need to be.
Almost on the stroke of half-time. Barca score, and it is Real Madrid 0, Football Club Barcelona 1 in this stateside edition of El Clásico. And Barca have a bit of wind in their sails now. They might look for another cross. Well, it might be overlooked perhaps. Alex Valle's delivery was absolutely pinpoint.
Yeah, you said it. And that was something that we hadn't gotten a chance to talk about yet, because he's traditionally more of a left back.
Here is Pablo Torre. Just a little bit too much of that shown to the defence, but it is a corner off Lucas Vázquez.
That you put Valle, you put Balde both in there, and Valle coming from that right-hand side means that that in-swinging cross is going to do a lot of damage if it's in the right spot. And there were 2 men there to begin with, Lewandowski and then Pau Víctor. It ends up hitting both of them.
Here comes the corner from the near side, a little bit of jostling in the area that the referee allows. But we'll have another look at the goal. Lewandowski, maybe we were being a little bit harsh on him, because it looked as if from the replay he's intending that pass. He's not going for goal for a striker of his pedigree. That is creditable unselfishness. Sets up Pau Víctor for his latest pre-season goal. Been a great few days for him.
And one thing we're seeing a lot of under Hansi Flick so far are runners in the box. That goal doesn't happen if you don't have extra numbers to create the opportunity for somebody to make the pass. Lewandowski had Pau Víctor right next to him.
It was the run through from Unai Hernandez. Goes down with nothing given in his favour.
But if this was basketball, Mario Martin would have fouled out about 10 minutes ago.
Well, putting himself about. We'll see if he comes back out for the second half of this one. It's going to be interesting to see what the strategies are from the two coaches, whether it will be a complete overhaul in the 11s. We'll find out shortly in around about quarter of an hour's time, because we reach the interval at the MetLife Stadium. It is Real Madrid 0, Football Club Barcelona 1 at the break. We're back for the second half here in New Jersey. There's been a considerable delay, but the half-time break has been fairly swift, a rapid turnaround, and time to get back underway with the El Clásico. One goal scored so far. It's gone Barca's way. Pau Víctor with the tap-in from inside the 6-yard box, set up by Lewandowski off a delicious ball in from Alex Valle. Hansi Flick, it seems, is not going to make a full change to his side for the second half, but there will be plenty of players who come in. It looks like Gerard Martin, Kim Jun-yet, Sergi Dominguez will come in on the 45-minute mark. In terms of changes for Real Madrid, unchanged for the second half of this one for Carlo Ancelotti, and it's probably something more similar to a first choice 11 for Carlo Ancelotti. Of course, the likes of Mbappe not in attendance, but Vinicius and Rodrigo on the bench could come on at some point. In terms of defence, a couple of stalwarts in there. Just in confirmation of those changes for Barca, and a pretty decent run out for Alejandro Balde, still getting back into the groove after missing a lot of last season through injury. It was some 6 months out of action for him, including some of the summer break, to return for that game against Manchester City.
Yeah, and just to touch on your point earlier about Madrid playing more of a first-team squad than what Barca have, their season starts sooner than Barca, so they would want to be a little bit more in the groove by the time they get to the UEFA Super Cup. For the time being, let's keep our eyes on the players who are out there for the first half, who are back out for the second, to see who gets the most extended run. I wouldn't be surprised to see a player or two garner 90 minutes today for Carlo Ancelotti's side.
Well, there are a few who certainly wouldn't be averse to doing that, the fringe players for Los Blancos. You see Barca in their Blaugrana strip going from left to right in this second period of play. It has continued to be a little bit rainy, but doesn't look as if we'll have any further stoppages in this contest, touch wood. We did see was a few more chances besides the goal for Barca, and Pau Víctor had already had a more difficult header that he'd nodded towards goal with excellent precision. It was met by an even better save by Thibaut Courtois, getting across to cover his left post. misplaced pass down the line. We have seen Lewandowski come back out for the second half. And towards the end of the first period, he was dropping a bit deeper, moving over to the left-hand side. It's good to see the willingness to get on the ball, but it's not Lewandowski's best position. It's not where he does his best work. Saw him drop as far as the defensive pivot position at one point, as we see Brahim Diaz go forward. Tries to find his teammate. It's a good interception as he hesitated slightly. Few good interceptions so far from Íñigo Martínez. Up the outside for Real Madrid. They might look for a cross in. They have Fran Garcia still playing at left back. No changes made by Ancelotti for the second half. You would imagine on the hour mark, the Italian would be looking to reshuffle the pack.
And just to touch on what you were mentioning with Lewandowski coming back, there was a stretch of 5 or 10 minutes where Barça didn't have hold of the ball. Just before they scored the goal, he starts dropping back and they seemed to regain some control in the midfield just by adding an extra player there. Obviously, it wasn't the direct result of the goal, but it did lead to the build-up, which then Lewandowski was on the other end of.
Combination between two defenders. It's moved over to the left-hand side and now back with Marc-André ter Stegen. He made a good save in the first half. A couple of occasions he was put to the test. At a fairly tame Endrick strike as well, went wide of goal. Short by Courtois. And Fran Garcia trying the 1-2. Barca push players up. A little too rough and ready from Marc Casado. Strides up forward from Real Madrid, and they undo that progress with the dribble backwards by Arda Güler. It was an extended spell of possession for Real Madrid, but they make nothing of it. That's another look. Well, plenty of trickery from Arda Güler. It didn't make too many inroads from that. In fact, only served to take him further away from goal.
Sense that there's a good mixture of fans in the stadium tonight. I wouldn't call it 50-50, it's hard to tell, but I feel like both clubs are equally well represented at MetLife Stadium tonight.
And plenty of stateside support for Spanish football. We see this run in from Alex Valle, cuts it back. Shot had nowhere to go. There was another positive move from the Blaugrana. Pablo Torre's effort ricocheting off the shins of the centre-back.
Again, Valle just sneaking through, and this is a quick decision from Pablo Torre, just closed down by Militao and two other white shirts.
To the left, we just see Lewandowski standing alongside Militao. Gets in between the two centre-backs and waits for the ball to come to him. Barca have made a few changes, and in 10 minutes' time we might see more of those. This one bends towards goal. It's Pau Víctor once more. Forces the push away from Thibaut Courtois.
Another perfectly placed shot on target from Pau Víctor. A little dummy from Kim Jun-Yent. He barely puts a foot wrong in these first 2 games of the preseason, or ahead in the case of the goal that he scored in the first half. Or the other one that he put on target off of a corner. He's everywhere.
See the latest corner for Barça. Bit of wrestling going on between Lucas Vázquez and Lewandowski. He tries to wriggle his way through. Come back out to the other side. Ball delivered in. It was set up for the header, but there was no knocking that goalwards from Sergi Dominguez. The players were looking for that ball. It was actually headed out by the defender, so it will be another corner kick. Towards the back stick, mixed hit by Pau Víctor. A rare mistake from him.
It's the first one that we've seen him hit wrong, which I guess 1 out of 5, you'll take that return.
Well, it's one of those, when it drops, you don't know whether to shoot or whether to pull it back across or bring it under control. In the end, it came to him too hard, too fast. Took his eye off it, and it's just a tricky bounce that takes the ball out of his path. Here's Lewandowski. Space over on the right-hand side. Over the outside of the boot. Brilliant delivery. Close range finish. Once again, it's that man, Pau Víctor. So nice. He had to do it twice. He pushes the ball across the line. Again, brilliant move from his teammates. It's Real Madrid 0, Football Club Barcelona 2 on 53 minutes. In El Clásico.
Well, this has been fun to watch. Valle, we talked about him being left-footed, but when you're a right back, sometimes you've got to bring that outswinger in. Look at this. Luka Modric is on the other side of the pitch. That's got Luka Modric vibes written all over it. What an assist from Valle, and a perfect little toe poke from Pau Víctor that just sneaks through the legs of Courtois. A lucky finish, but you know what? When you put 6 of them near the target, sometimes lucky is a product of being good, and it's 2-0 to Barça.
Well, he keeps on scoring in pre-season, and Alex Valle is making quite the case for himself. 2 exquisite deliveries in, lead to Barca's 2 goals. Here in this US edition of El Clásico. Coming up to 10 minutes gone in the second period.
This team just looks different. I'm not going to say better or worse right now, just different.
Brahim Diaz trying one down the line.
And it comes with the caveat, Duncan, every time of saying, I know, we know, it's preseason. We have to continue to remind ourselves that it's preseason. But it's a different style. You can see how quickly they're moving the ball. And these are the close quarters I'm talking about, especially when Madrid are putting the pressure on. Now, that's a bad giveaway by Ter Stegen.
Well, it's recovered. There was an appeal for a penalty, which the referee gives short shrift to. It's Endrick who's down again.
He seems to hit the deck quite often so far, rather than just playing football.
It's over on the right for Real Madrid. Arda Güler squares up to the Barca defence. It's a little bit scrappy there. Arda Güler tumbling over Marc Casado. Have another look. Poor distribution there from Marc-André Ter Stegen.
I mean, there's nothing there. And again, he's on his way down. He's stretching just to try to touch the ball so that he can claim that if he touches the ball, he was fouled. But it was never an option. And speaking of a Brazilian who was once young and inexperienced, not him. Well, I guess him too, but him.
So Vinicius Jr. comes on, the Ballon d'Or candidate. Juan Martinez as well. Eder Militao is withdrawn, as is Brahim Diaz. In a double change made by Carlo Ancelotti. It's actually the first changes for Real Madrid in this game. For Barca, it's Alex Valle. He was looking for that pass on the return to set him off. I've seen Barca keep the pressure up. We'll see if the momentum of this game continues when more substitutions are made. Hansi Flick might be thinking about some more movement on the sidelines when the hour comes up. One down the line, first touch for Vinicius Jr. Gets outside, might look to square this. A dummy assault to the defence, but Barca back in numbers, make the clearance.
Similar to Barca in the first half. Madrid taking too long to come up with a shot. Vini and Ceballos both struggling to find an angle.
That's one of the newcomers on the field of play. Juan Martinez has stepped in the defence, gets the ball at his feet now, and plays to Arregula. Vinicius Jr. has an option on the overlap in the form of Fran Garcia. Decides to go cross field. Asked a little bit too much of his teammate. Well, it was a nice idea from Barca. The execution was off. Trying to spread that out. Lewandowski wanted a more direct pass to set him through one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Do have some players warming up for Barca. Aguirre, Fernandez, Afey and Hector Fort amongst them. Rafinha and Iñaki Peña as well. They could be brought on imminently as we're about to hit the hour mark. Barca 2-0 up against Real Madrid in this pre-season Clásico.
And it's not the squad we know that is going to be out there in the latter half of any game during La Liga, but this is still a chance for many of the young players as well to learn how to play with a lead, using a combination of Barca's way with Hansi Flick's new way. How do you hold on to possession? How do you try not to tire yourselves out, back yourselves into a wall?
Nice touch from Lewandowski.
Or do you just keep pushing?
Here's Pau Víctor. He will not want to be taken off, having scored twice. Kept up his goal-scoring form. Beaten to the punch there. Vinicius Jr. by Sergi Dominguez. Timed the challenge well. Prevented the Brazilian from going through on Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Hasn't done much with the ball since coming on, Vinicius Jr., but he's proven to be active. And immediately there's a change in tone from Real Madrid to find him cutting in from that left-hand side. Pau Víctor shows for the ball. Look how he's made a change in movement over to the left. Knew the ball was going to the feet of Lewandowski. Wanted to give him that option to pick him out in the left channel. Back into the Real Madrid half. There was a sprint after the ball, trying to apply the squeeze on Juan Martinez. There's Vinicius. Tries to get the run around. Followed every step of the way by Alex Valle. Excellent stuff from Alex Valle. Concedes a corner, but he prevented Vinicius Jr. from making the run past him and cutting back to a teammate.
And it's the way you have to defend him. You've got to throw multiple defenders at him. First it was Dominguez.
On played in, coming into space, and Marc-Andre ter Stegen smothers the shot. Vinicius Jr. looking to pull one back for Real Madrid. He is denied by the goalkeeper. And the action continues apace. Vinicius Jr. will get back on the ball, takes on Marc Casado. Now the substitutions are made for Barça. And Gerard Martin will replace Alejandro Balde. Kim Jun-yet on for Unai Hernandez. Sergio Dominguez has already been brought on.
Yeah, we've
got Guy Fernandez who's going to come in. So it's goodbye for Pablo Torre by the looks of things.
We've had a couple of highlights to take with us, Duncan, from this game, regardless of the final result. Pau Víctor, who gets dabbed up by Hansi Flick, might be in for some fun in 2024-2025.
Well, we'll see our first pre-season minutes for Rafinha. The Brazilian comes on. Has a good record in Clásicos, especially great performances in pre-season games against them. It's 5 changes just past the hour mark, and this might change the dynamic.
And we'll get a look at one of Barça Athletic's stalwart defenders from a year ago, Mikel Fay, who was a big signing for Barça's academy or their reserve team as well, with thoughts of how he could at some point in the near future jump into the first team. We'll see if the near future is this season or not, but along with Iñaki Peña, who will come on in place of ter Stegen's hour. I'm interested to see how the young Fay defends against some of the best attacking players in the world.
Well, it will be a test, and he comes on at the same time as Vinicius Jr. has been introduced and has shaken up the Real Madrid attack. Lucas Vázquez is not happy with the referee.
Just 20 years old. They call him Mika. Senegalese who spent all season last year with Barça Athletic. Before that, he was playing in Croatia. You don't see Barça sign too many players like that through the years, of small clubs from outside of Spain. That tells me that the scouting department is on it. Now we get to see what it looks like here.
Back to Courtois. Still some 25 minutes remaining, and a triple change is being prepared by Carlo Ancelotti. Rafael Obrador and Jacobo Ramon. A Paz as well is going to come on, as we'll see Rafinha bring that inside. Be interesting to see how Rafinha shakes up the Barca attacking. There's a wrench back by Marc Bernal. He can have few complaints about the yellow card shown there.
Well, yellow cards don't accumulate in the preseason, so you might as well get your money's worth. Hendrik's not going anywhere.
A tactical foul between the two number 16s. Marc Bernal likely to be withdrawn soon anyway, with substitutions still available for Hansi Flick. So Hendrik is going to be replaced.
And we can play the Barca heavy side of things and say that we weren't as impressed with Hendrik today as we have been with other youngsters. But then again, if he was on Barca's side, we would be saying be patient. So the same applies in this case for him and for Madrid. It's probably not going to happen this year in full, similar to what Victor Roque went through last year.
We have had that triple change. Jacobo Ramon, Rafa Obrador and Nico Paz all introduced for a 23-minute cameo appearance. And this is where games tend to lose their shape a little, as you get more of a mix of young players and less frequently featured players. That was a sprint for the ball. Some players still away on holiday for Barca, others back training in the Catalan capital. We've seen Gavi and Ronald Araujo in the gym together. A race to be back fit. Frankie de Jong is also still sidelined, but likely to be ready for the start of the new campaign. Vinicius, he beats the defender for pace. Might have taken that out of play though, as he burst past the less fresh Marc Casado.
He's finally in the role today, though, that I think he's best in. We talked about this against City. Casado playing in that number 6, or in this case, the double pivot.
Goes inside. Barca looking for an opportunity to make it 3. It won't come from that move, as Vinicius turns on the halfway line. Barca get players back. Vinicius goes inside and out. Makes his way into the box where Barca have to be careful. Vinicius not averse to going down under any challenge. That's a competent clearance from the Blaugrana.
And they're absorbing the pressure nicely. Obviously, with Vinicius coming in, you knew that there'd be some pace down the left-hand side, which we've seen. He's made a couple of surging runs lately, but this is a bend not break scenario for Barca's defense, especially considering how young they are now across the back line. Dominguez, Fay, Valle, they've served themselves well so far against some of the world's best.
Shot by Ter Stegen, collected in the midfield for the Blaugrana. A little bit too much time on the ball there. Here comes Jacobo Ramon into the box, tries to bring that one in for Vinicius, who couldn't turn in time. Barca again, when players have been beaten down the flank, they've managed to cover well, get players in the box to prevent any shot from coming their way. There's another look. It was a ball at the feet of Vinicius. Fay standing in front, didn't allow him to get that out from under his feet. played through, just ushered back to Thibaut Courtois. So next up, the game against AC Milan. And then it's back to Europe, back to Spain. And time to prepare for the Gamper showcase game, which once again will be held at the Olympic Stadium rather than the Camp Nou.
Last year's was fairly exciting. We knew of Lamine Yamal then, but he sort of announced himself that day. Announced himself ready.
It's going to be a first chance for the local fans to see their side in action this summer. Also serves as the presentation. Our first chance in the Olympic Stadium to greet the supporters for Hansi Flick. And outside for a Barca run. Excellently left there, but the defence managed to read it. Vasquez sprays one over to Vinicius on the left. Vinicius will once again try and take on a Barca defender. Gets outside, brings that back. Marc-Andre ter Stegen was wrong-footed, but Faye able to lift that clear out of play. Couple of step overs. Don't manage to make any inroads for Real Madrid. Gerard Martin was having none of it.
Well, this is the danger that we know that Vinny always brings down the left-hand side. One of the questions we're going to ask this year is, will he continue to thrive in that role as the corner is cleared away convincingly enough? With Mbappe playing through the middle or Mbappe on the same side as him, it's going to be tough to tell. We don't get to find out really until the start of the season or maybe the Super Cup, but his role changes. There was no Karim Benzema last year. Mbappe is a little bit more central than what Rodrigo had been. It's definitely a puzzle for Ancelotti to figure out.
Looks like we're going to have some more Barca changes. Victor Roque is waiting on the sidelines. We'll get our first look at Ilkay Gundogan this summer. He's joined up with the US tour just after the game against his former club, Manchester City. And Darvik is also going to come on for a 13-minute run out.
He impressed too in the first game against City. One of the two Germans who probably speaks German with Hansi Flick, I would assume. Or three, I guess, if you count Lewandowski, who speaks fluent German as well.
We have Marc-Andre ter Stegen as well, who's
yeah, of course.
going
Thank
to act
you.
as the
Appreciate
interpreter.
it, the captain. Good call.
Well, it's going to be a new role for Marc-Andre ter Stegen with that almost interpreter role. He's taken on the captaincy in recent years. He's one of the players with the most experience for Barca in this side. Gundogan's leadership qualities are well known. Of course, captain Manchester City to the Champions League title. And didn't look out of place bossing some Barca players about last season on the pitch, despite some linguistic limitations for Gundogan.
Ooh, that was nasty. And that's Mario Martin again, man. He has not endeared himself to Barca fans today. That's a nasty, nasty challenge.
He finally gets a yellow card as Lorenzo Aguado is going to be brought on to replace Dani Ceballos. And it is Lewandowski who makes way. Another extended run out for him today. So often we see a player of his importance just feature for 45 minutes.
No.
But he's gone long beyond that in both games.
An hour 15. That's quite the run for him today. Not to mention the fact that he played 12 minutes like many of the others and then had to stop and start up again.
So Vitor Roque comes on. Darvik as well. One of the players withdrawn is Marc Bernal. So first chance to see Ilkay Gundogan this pre-season. Part of that German side eliminated by Spain in the European Championships on home soil.
By my count, that is 11 subs, 11 positions from where we started.
So the complete overhaul made by Hansi Flick just before the end. Still some 12 minutes or so remaining. Barca find themselves 2-0 to the good. Both goals scored by Pau Víctor. Either side of the interval from close range. Pau Víctor getting on the end of a knock-across goal by Lewandowski, and then an excellent pass from Alex Valle with the outside of his boot. Well, plenty of plaudits will come Pau Víctor's way. Alex Valle, maybe an unsung hero of the pre-season so far, doing his case no harm either. Guy Fernandez looks for this. He had to stay onside, and that meant he held his run just a split second too long. Slick pass through one-on-one on goal, and it was just a slip up there from Guy Fernandez, which prevents him from being able to pull the trigger completely.
Yeah, he knew that that was an opportunity. That's why he's smiling, because he was in, and his first touch was good too. Just had to pull it back out from under his feet. Couldn't get there in time.
We do have a corner for Barca. About to break into the final 10 minutes. Lifted over, nobody able to reach that in the box. Vinicius Jr. collects on the outskirts of the area, tries some trickery, and it does not come off.
Okay.
Gundogan. Gerard Martin was being hassled and harangued by Lucas Vázquez. He's on course to last the full 90 minutes today. Players still on who started the game. Thibaut Courtois, Luka Modric, Lucas Vázquez and Arda Güler, as well as Mario Martin, has just picked up a well-deserved and a hard-earned yellow card. Some persistent fouls from him and a few dangerous challenges. That one on Balde was maybe the most egregious. Guy Fernandez swings one over, and it's well met at the back.
Well, Vinicius has been active, but not effective yet.
Well, Arda Güler will take the corner. Vinicius Jr. is more or less unmarked at the moment. He's whipped over, and also unmarked is Nico Paz, who heads in to pull a goal back for Real Madrid. Iñaki Peña gets a hand to that ball. He'd been giving plenty of instructions to his defence. But it ended up with Nico Paz being wide open on the outskirts of the 6-yard box for a powerful header.
Wide open is an understatement. Look at Gundogan's at the top of the box wondering who in the world is marking him. That's obviously a blown assignment. And it's one that they'll look back on, and this is the perfect time to make this mistake if you're Barça, because you'll never see a player that free in the box. I mean, he's got nobody within 10 meters of him, minimum. So credit to him for finishing it off, putting it past Ter Stegen, 2-1, game on. But Barça will look back at that and think we can't make that mistake again this year.
Well, you have to look at who was meant to be marking Nico Paz. Gundogan was stood still pointing at it, whether it was his responsibility or not.
Well,
he could see it ahead of time.
Him pointing tells me that it probably wasn't his responsibility, but who knows?
Well, he had a premonition of what was going to happen. He was immediately holding his arm up, saying, who's marking Nico Paz, before the ball was even met by the youngster. So that makes it Real Madrid 1, Barça 2. Inside the final 10 minutes in this US edition of El Clásico. Pre-season game that's had a fair bit of intensity. This is a break across the halfway line. And now, sliding out for the ball. Where will this one bounce? It is going to be cleared away by the looks of things, as Thibaut Courtois decided to take a gamble.
That's the spark that we've been waiting for from Victor Roque. That's a perfect example of what he can do. He made that run from inside of his own half. It's good sweeping from Courtois. Otherwise, he's in with a chance.
And it could have bounced just about anywhere off the deflection.
See what you did there.
Cleared away by Iñaki Peña. So the ball rolled out again. Well, occasionally these games can fizzle out towards the end with a series of substitutions. This one has picked up intensity because it hasn't just been let's start with the established first team players and then bring on the youngsters. There's been a bit of a mix.
I mean, we were saying there might be a chance that some players play a full 90. For Madrid, Lucas Vázquez is still on the pitch. Luka Modric is still on the pitch. Is he going to play 90 minutes, Luka Modric?
Well, maybe one of the few times he plays 90 minutes this season. We indeed have had 5 players who are seemingly going to play from start to finish in this one as Barca go on the attack. Here comes the cavalry. Slightly heavy pass. Rafinha brings it back under control. Goes for the back post. It was in between a shot and a low ball to a teammate. In the end, it was too close to Thibaut Courtois.
He did what he could with the ball that he was given. You said it was just out in front of him here. Got so much space to work with. It just has to be a touch lighter, and he could put that onto his left foot from a much more comfortable angle.
He has won Barca a corner. To be taken by Rafinha. He's taken on the captain's armband as well. Corner is short. Now Rafinha maybe eyes up across. Doesn't look like he'll send one into the area though. It's instead off. Great bit of footwork. That was a delightful move by İlkay Gundogan. Whether by luck or judgment. Let's have a look at what he did here. Well, he took 2 Real Madrid players out of the equation with some quick touches. Gundogan. With the pass to Hector Fort. Hector Fort came on for Valle. Both players have impressed when called upon during the season, in the last campaign and during pre-season. Valle superb in the first half and for the second goal. Barça will not allow that shuffle inside. Kim Yun-Yet is stuck to the Real Madrid player. And of course, a rather poor delivery, which bounces to Iñaki Peña. And Barca attack again. We've got 5 players forward for the Blaugrana. It was dribbled into traffic there.
And Gundogan's holding his arms out like, we don't need that many players forward, guys. We're trying to win this game.
There's Vinicius. Vinicius looks for goal. He's closed down by Hector Fort.
It's well defended by Dominguez also.
There's the cutback. Oh, that was a poor clearance attempt. Iñaki Peña makes amends.
Now it looks like a pre-season game, Duncan.
It's one of those, a goalkeeper looking around trying to blame somebody. Iñaki Peña only had himself to blame though as he watches that go over the top. One thing about goalkeepers is though, they will forget about that soon enough.
It's the closest Vinicius has come today.
And he's come on, he's been active. He's made this seem a bit more like a Clásico. It looks as if Barça are going to take another pre-season victory. Another positive for Hansi Flick's men. That nutmeg by Obrador is cut out thereafter, and there's some pushing and pulling by Hagabor Ramon that's going to see his name taken down. He was grabbing Rafinha as he tried to break away. Down the line for Guille Fernandez. Fernandez still going, breaks into the area. Cuts that back. That's a shot in right foot, it goes out. Looked like maybe it was another deflection. That was certainly the appeal to the referee, but it's been given us a goal kick. Pau Víctor likely to pick up the Man of the Match award. We're going to go into the first of 2 minutes of stoppage time here. Well, what can Pau Víctor do against AC Milan in the next friendly if he works his magic again? There's going to be some big calls for him to feature prominently at the start of the season.
It's the same that we saw last year from Lamine and Fermin.
Guille Fernandez loses possession. Barca have it back. Maybe one last opportunity to extend their lead before the end.
Look at Mikel Faye.
Raced forward, Mikel Faye. He stayed up there during a couple of turnovers in possession.
He wants to play forward. Why not?
And finally sends another delivery in. Well, that's
cross.
maybe why not. It was crossed in, but no teammate able to meet that.
Yeah, he's ambitious. Give him that.
Vinicius on the run. Tries to go inside and out on Sergio Dominguez. It's going to be a yellow card for Hector Fort for the pullback. Just the lightest of tugs on the shirt of Vinicius Jr. Peña giving instructions to his players. This is just one last free kick to defend. Thibaut Courtois has gotten forward to try and snatch an equaliser. It's deflected. Modric appeals for encroachment. And it looks as if the free kick is going to be retaken. A couple of players for Barca had advanced too early. So yeah, last opportunity for Real Madrid to pull level. Modric this time swings in, looking for Courtois' head. It's caught by Iñaki Peña, and it's game over in El Clásico. Barca make it 2 wins from 2 in their pre-season tour of the US. A game against AC Milan awaits in midweek. After much delay, the fireworks were on the pitch in the form of Pau Víctor's performance. He and Alex Valle lighting up this edition of El Clásico. Victory for Barca by 2-1.
Yeah, they just continue to impress. This preseason has looked very different under Hansi Flick. We'll get another chance against AC Milan to see who else can shine before we get going in the games that truly count. Of course, starting with the Joan Gamper Trophy from the Estadio Olímpic Lluís Companys, but it never hurts to beat your eternal rivals. So another victory in an American Clásico. Hats off to Barça and Hansi Flick for getting it done. Pau Víctor, the hero.
Well, a great display. A completely changed 11 by the end, but Barca take victory. The final score, Real Madrid 1, Football Club Barcelona 2. Well, as is sometimes the case in pre-season, there's some extra luggage to be taken back to Spain because there is going to be a trophy presentation in this game. Some of the fans already filing out to get home. It's been a significant delay in this game. Of course, the MVP trophy likely to go to Pau Víctor for his 2 goals. His fantastic pre-season continues.
Yeah, and he just looks comfortable, Pau Víctor, so far. We mentioned it during the game about being in the right place at the right time. That's something that can be taught, but it's also inherent, and just some people have it more naturally than others. You can see that the ball somewhat magnetizes to him at times, and when he's given that chance, clearly he's proven, he's shown that he can be the guy. And we've seen a lot of Barça athletic strikers, even though he was on loan last year from Girona. We've seen a lot of top attacking players not get the chance with the senior club. Victor Barberá was an example. He scored a number of goals. I can't remember exactly how many it was. It was like 20, 25 for Barça Athletic 2 years ago. Ferran Jutgla was given a chance and then immediately said, no, I'm off to Club Brugge. So these strikers who have been at their peak with the reserves, as we're going to take a look at the highlights from this game, this could be the guy. And for Barça, a victory.
Here comes a look at some of the chances. Pau Víctor with the header. It was the first opportunity of note. It was the only real opportunity before the game was paused for a significant amount of time. Thibaut Courtois forced into a fantastic save to deny him. We did have that hour-and-a-half delay due to the thunderstorm protocols. Groundskeepers doing a job of clearing the pitch. Plenty of surface water having to be removed. Finally got things back underway. And with that, Barça had to wait until right on the stroke of half-time to get the opening goal. Valle to Lewandowski. An easy tap-in for Pau Víctor. After the interval, Barça were at it again. This time it was Alex Valle with a delightful pass that was met first time. A more direct route with the outside of his boot. Pau Víctor on hand once again, turns the ball through the legs of Thibaut Courtois. There were a few opportunities for Real Madrid, a couple of penalty appeals that fell on deaf ears. Vinicius Junior's introduction was a significant one in the game. It changed the dynamic somewhat. He caused some problems, but Barça were able to contain him. And they would only concede in the latter stages of the game as Nico Paz met Arda Güler's corner. He was unmarked, he headed past Iñaki Peña. And it proved to be a consolation goal in El Clásico.